answers and solutions. And that's what the prophets of God are here to do. So, I didn't catch your name. What's your name, sis? Huh? His Drew? Drew, okay. I don't want to mispronounce your name. Okay, so Drew, repeat what you said to me. You said, what did they teach you?
I said they don't teach me about who I am as a black woman.
As a black woman?
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know, maybe they don't have the credentials to.
They don't have the credentials to. Okay, I'm going to show you. All right, go to Isaiah 28. Isaiah 28, and read verse, get there real quick, let me see what I want. Start at 15. I'm going to show you why they don't teach you who you are, all right? Because it's very important to know who you are, because that way you'll know where you're going, right? Read this.
Isaiah chapter 28, verse 15. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death.
So this is talking about the so-called leaders, the so-called pastors in these churches. They made a covenant with death. Death meaning what? These other nations. They ain't in agreement with what's going on with this, right? How come whenever something happens to us as a people in our community, right? Us being shot down, us going to jail, us getting all kind of injustices that happen to us. How come they don't say anything? Why don't they stand up? Do you see T.D. Jake out there saying, hey, but this is wrong, this needs to stop? Or any of these so-called pastors of these mega churches? Read it again.
Isaiah chapter 28, verse 15. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death.
They made a covenant with death. Read.
And with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing and scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge.
And that's what these pastors do. They made lies their refuge. They will lie to you because it's benefiting them. They get trinkets. They get paid to lie to our people. So who are we as a people? Get Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15.
Check it out.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. Because we are here to show our people who they are. These pastors are not going to tell you who you are, but we are. Read this.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
Bring it out.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken.
So, the book of Deuteronomy was written to the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which the Bible calls the Israelites. So this is addressing the Israelites. Read.
Unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So God says, this is going to come to pass, meaning this is going to happen if we don't hearken unto the voice of God. What is the voice of God, sis? Yes.
Shouldn't it be something you hear in your heart?
The word of God, talking about the Bible. So that's what it's talking about. Read it again.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments.
So, it says that we must do all of God's commandments, right? Do they teach the commandments in the church? What commandments they teach? The basic 10. Okay, so what's the problem with that?
I mean, that's not all of them.
That's not all of them, because look, the Bible's a big book, right? So we should be learning all of the laws, right? Not just the 10, because the 10 commandments summarizes all of the law. It's just a summary of all the laws, right? Read.
And his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So if we wouldn't listen to the voice of God, curses was going to come upon us. So look at our people today, right? Look how we live. We live in the hood. We live in the ghettos, the projects. Wouldn't you say that we're being cursed for not keeping God's commandments? Right, look at us. We getting shot down, right? Things happen to us because we continue to break God's commandments. Read on. Read verse 16.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
So, just like we was talking about earlier, we're cursed in the city. Why? Why? Because we break God's commandments. Look at us. We're in the ghettos. We're on Section 8. We're in the housing projects. We fill up the prison system. We're cursed as a people. What's your name, bro? Peel? Okay. So, understand what we're talking about and what we're discussing. We are cursed as a people. Why? Because we break God's commandments. So, let's get another curse. Go to verse 37. Because you said earlier, they don't teach you who you are as a black woman. Is that your real nationality?
No, I believe that I
an Israelite, right? Because you fit the curses. The curses apply to you. That shows that you are the biblical Israelite. They're God's chosen people. Of course, all people aren't being taught that. Because like what we read earlier, they are in agreement to not teach you that. Because they're getting paid off. They're getting paid. They collect tithes, right? And what do they do with the money? They don't say nothing. They don't. If you need help in the church, you go to your pastor and say, "Hey, can you help me with the rent? I'm kind of short." Oh, sis, just have faith and believe. It's gonna be your season. That doesn't make any sense. I'm paying tithes. That's what tithes are for. But they say the laws are done away. Why are you collecting tithes? Because that's a law. Does it make sense? They're hypocrites. So read what you got. What I had you at?
Verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment.
So that's one of the curses. God said we're going to be cursed. And one of those curses is that we will become an astonishment. We will no longer be called the children of Israel. We will no longer be called Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. We'll be called black, African American, which is a hyphenated nationality. We'll be called Negro, coon, colored, spick, wetback. That's what they call us. We're not being called by our God-given name.
That's right.
We will become an astonishment because we're God's people.
Right.
And look how we act. Look how we walk and conduct ourselves. That's an astonishment because all these other nations, they know who you are. And that's why they laugh. And you ever been to a nail shop and they just, because they know who you are. And it was like, look how you live. Look how they live. Look how they treat each other. That's an astonishment. Read.
A proverb and a byword.
So we became a proverb. What do they say about black people? What's some of the wise sayings they say about us? We love chicken, watermelon.
Put something in the book you don't know.
Right. Put something in the book, just like in the church. They say, oh, don't read the Old Testament, but that's how you're going to figure out who you are. These are wise sayings that they say against us. And a byword. What's a byword? Just like we were saying. You said you were a black woman. Look at your shoes. Your shoes are black. Are you that color? You're a different shade of brown. We're brown. Right. But that's common knowledge that we overlook because they'll say, oh, you black. No, I'm not. I'm brown. Because we go to kindergarten, they teach you all your colors, right? Oh, this is black, but my skin is black. That don't make sense. They say they're white. They're not white. Do you ever see anybody the color of that flyer? Heck no. But that's what they say. They disguise themselves. And our people are confused. So we became an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword. Read.
Among all nations.
Among all nations. Just so like we were mentioning earlier, sis. All these nations, they know who you are. They'll call you black. They'll call you a nigger. Even the so-called people over there in Africa, they call us Akati. You know what Akati means? They call us cotton picker. So how are we the same people are you making fun of us? That doesn't make sense. Even though, now mind you, some of our people are still scattered over there, but the ones that sold us to the so-called enemies, these so-called white people, those are the ones that call us Akati. Those are the ones that hate us. They're not our people. So that's one of the curses. Here's another curse. Get verse 68. Verse 68. And this is all because of what?
Because it's a plan to keep us, the knowledge, I guess, away from us. To keep
Also, we broke God's commandments. So that's why God is allowing. Right, we suffer the curses because God is allowing all this because we broke his commandments. We continue to be disobedient.
Right.
God said hold on real quick, before you get that, go to verse 1. Because we're going over the curses. God said he'll bless us if we are obedient. I'm going to show you that real quick. Go to verse 1.
Verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou wilt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations.
So you see what the Lord said to us? If we obey his commandments, we'll be on high above everybody on this planet. But we didn't do that. We chose not to do that, which is now why we're on the bottom. Now get 68. Now get verse 68. Do they read any of this in the church? We don't go through none of this in the churches, right? They don't want you to find out who you are.
That's got to be looked up and read up on your own.
Exactly. Read.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So the Lord said he's going to bring us into Egypt again with ships. So sis, you say you went to church. You know about Moses? Right. What did Moses do? He parted the Red Sea and led the Israelites out of Egypt, right? So the Lord said, I'm going to bring you into Egypt again. What does Egypt mean to us? No. What condition were we in Egypt? We were slaves. So the Lord said he's going to bring us into slavery again. How?
With ships.
So he said he's going to bring us into slavery again with ships. Didn't that happen to us as a people? Though it didn't happen in that time frame right there, it happened later on. We was dragged halfway across the planet, and it was made to serve hard bondage in this country right now. Right. And we still serving hard bondage. How? We got 9 to 5s. We working hard every day for pennies just to pay bills, and the money is going right back to them. Right. How are we benefiting? We're in slavery. You see that? And they don't discuss none of this in the church. How are we going to get into the kingdom? Because they say the laws are done away with, right? You would think, but like we read earlier, right? They are in agreement with the society that keeps us down because they're getting paid. And on top of that, they're getting free money by charging the congregation in tithes. So they good. They don't care. As long as they good, they don't care about their people. Exactly. Because I'm going to get this real quick. Go to Romans 7. No, go to Romans 10. 10 and verse 2. Read verse 2. Because it's something about our people, right? It's the reason why we keep going to these churches, because we're trying to find a solution, but we're not being taught correctly. Read this.
Romans chapter 10, verse 2. For I bear the record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge.
So our people, we love God, right? We love God. That's why we fill these churches, but we're not being taught according to knowledge. What is the knowledge, sis, that we're not being taught? I like that. 80% of the Bible we're not being taught properly. So what is the knowledge? Get that real quick in Malachi. Malachi 2 and 7. Because we have a zeal for God. We love God. But these pastors and these so-called leaders are not teaching us who we are. And they love to do that because they're getting paid to do that. Read this.
Malachi chapter 2, verse 7. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth.
So these priests, these pastors should be teaching us the laws, but they're not doing that. We're seeking God. We want salvation because we're at the bottom. We got nowhere else to go but up. But we're not being taught properly. We're not being taught our heritage. We're not being taught our nationality. None of these things. We're not being taught God's laws. None of that stuff. Exactly. So we going to the church and we're being led astray. Led astray. Get Matthew 18 and 11. How you doing, brother? That's your husband? Okay, all praises. Good name, Jeremiah. That's biblical. Let's get that. So we've been led astray, right? Let's see what Christ came to do. Read this.
Matthew chapter 18, verse 11. For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost.
We are the ones that are lost. We're the ones that's lost in Christianity, baptism, apostolic, all these different religions that fall under the same branch of Roman Catholic or Catholicism. It's all the same. No matter what name it's under, they all lead us astray. And Christ said, I'm going to bring you back. Get Matthew 15 and 24 now. So let's see who's lost. Let's verify who's lost. Because we can already see that we're the ones that are lost. So let's find out. Read this.
Matthew chapter 15, verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
So you hear that? Christ said he's not sent to everyone. He's only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, which is these people right here, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We're the ones that are lost. We are the ones that are at the bottom of society. So why aren't they teaching these in these churches? Once again, because they don't care. They don't.
What does church do? What does church
Huh?
do? What does church
Hold on, brother. Hold your peace, because I'm answering the sister question. I'm gonna get to you. Let me finish what the sister
Would
saying.
it inflict an uprising if we were to know these things?
Right, because look, once we find out who we are, this wicked society is over with.
Right.
It's finished. It's done. And the other nations know that. Hold on. Matter of fact, get that in Judith. Judith, what's that? 8 and 24? 5 and 17. Get that. I'm gonna show you that these other nations know if they keep us in sin, they can remain on the top.
I'm not lying. We don't know who we are.
Exactly, because guess what? The lead tribe is right here in America. Judah. Judah is here. If Judah wakes up, he's going to wake up the rest of his brothers and sisters. And then we out of here. So that's why the black man in America gets it the hardest.
Right.
Exactly. Read that.
Judah chapter 5 verse 17.
20.
Verse 20.
Verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error in this people.
So this is a conversation between two heathen men. Two people of other nations, right? They're having a conversation with each other. They said if it be no error in these people, talking about us, referring to us. Read.
And they sin against their God.
So they know if we sin against our God, read.
Let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
They know that that's our downfall right there. If we sin against God, we have no protection. There's no umbrella over us. That's going to be our ruin. They know this. Read.
And let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
And that's how they was able to overcome us. That's how they were able to bring us halfway across the world and put us in slavery. Because we are in error. We are in sin. Right? Us as a people. It's not just one or two. It's us as a whole, as a nation. Read.
But if there be no iniquity in their nation.
So, he said, but if there's no sin in the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, who are the Israelites, read.
Let my Lord now pass by.
Leave them alone. Leave them alone.
Lest their Lord defend them.
So what do they understand? They understand that the Israelites are the only ones with the real God. All their gods are idols. He said, if there's no sin in them, leave them alone. Read.
And their God before them, and we become a reproach before all the world.
Right, because our God is going to defend us. If we're keeping the commandments, we have a defense. We have a shield. But if we're not keeping the commandments, that shield is gone. And now they can do whatever to us what they want. They can inject us with all these different vaccines and say, oh, this is the cure right here. They're just experimenting on us. But we have to keep God's commandments.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.